Hello, and welcome back to Media Munchies podcast, the Hannibal Analysis Project. It's been a while. Yes, I know. Nothing to say. ... Period. Yeah, it's been a while, but welcome back. I really wanted to do this one. I rewatched it recently, like twice, because this one, it's called Oeuf. It's episode 4, by the way. Oh my goodness. It's called Oeuf, Oeuf, like how the French spell it, meaning eggs. And, oh yeah, because he makes eggs. Okay, sorry, just didn't connect the dots there, but I connected more dots, and you will see them, because I rewatched this like twice recently. It is juicier than I thought. So, let's get into it. It starts off with Hannibal and Will sitting in therapy, as they do, being gay, as usual. And it's the first instance on the show of the phrase that Hannibal uses, "Tell me, Will," which I just thought is iconic because it's his classic phrase. I see it everywhere in memes, so just thought it was very notable. But anyways, they're being gay and dramatic and flirting weirdly as they do. And what I said initially was that the plot of the episode, which comes later, is not, like, it didn't grab my attention. And I still feel this way because they don't really, I don't know. I think they focus maybe a bit too much on the symbolism than developing, like, a good storyline with the murder plot, the bad guy of the week. It was decent, but the symbolism is juicy. And that's why, I don't know, I came to appreciate this one more, especially for the podcast. So then, there's a scene after they explain it. So basically, it's like this, there's these kids who kill their parents, and you slowly discover it throughout that there's this mother figure and whatever, and she's trying to build this family, and we'll see how that relates. But before that, there's this weird scene where Hannibal goes to Will's house, drives to Will's house. Will's not there. He feeds the dogs. Or, like, yeah, he feeds the dogs, and then he, like, messes with Will's fishing hooks and, like, pricks his finger and, like, licks the blood because he's some extra-ass vampiric man, creepy old man. And, yeah, he was creepy. He was he looked at his shirts. Okay, maybe I didn't see that on my most recent time. But, okay, he looked at his shirts. That sounds gay. And, yeah, eats his own blood. And the funny thing about this scene is that they don't explain it at first, so it makes it even more creepy. And I just love that because it's like, what is he even doing in Will's house? But later they explain, oh, Will asked him to feed his dogs for him. So it's like, oh, that's why it was all like that. But also Hannibal is doing sketchy things. Don't even doubt it for a second. He's always doing that. So then they cut from the eating his own blood to blood on this family picture frame. It's from the crime scene, whatever. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe Hannibal, it represents Hannibal who has tainted a certain family with blood. Maybe? That sounds smart. I think I came up with that on the spot. Anyways, just my interpretation though. And then there's a scene with Alana and Abigail, and I just like the cuts as well, because she says, you have to find someone to relate to in this experience, to Abigail, because she's feeling like alone because shit happened, trauma, whatever. And then they cut to Hannibal, and it's like, ooh, that's who she's gonna relate to. Every time, this show. So then, Alana goes to Hannibal's house for a beer, because they're friends, whatever, and they talk about Abigail. And then Alana's talking about, oh, Abigail has depression, maybe. And Hannibal's like, what about you? Like, wink, wink, because she's, like, drinking. And then she's like, nothing wrong with a little self-medication. And I just love that. You know, I feel like, I don't know, I would get along with psychology people. But at the same time, I would not. But maybe I would get along with these psychology people. But at the same time, like, he's a cannibal. And they're all fucked up people. But aren't we all fucked up people? Consider that for a second. Moving on. So, then, iconic scene. I'm going to pull up the script for this one. So yeah, in this scene they're talking about, or it's Jack and Price, Zeller, Beverly looking at the body or whatever they do in the investigation place. And they're talking about siblings and like birth order. And then Zeller makes a interesting comment. He talks to Will and he's like, must have been an only child. And Will's like, why'd you say that? And Zeller's like, family friction is a catalyst for personality development, implying that he has no personality. I was like, excuse me? Or like, you know, he obviously has personality because he's dramatic as hell, but just like stunted person. I don't know. And it hurts as an only child, but you know, sometimes you think, oh, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Family friction does help build character. Rest in peace. But yeah, also Will is an only child, hashtag confirmed, hashtag, yeah, Will is an only child, just like me. That's all we need to know. End of story. Then, Beverly Katz. Yes, Beverly Katz is like, youngest children do not deserve rights. I was the oldest child, so I was mistreated. And like, I mean, I don't have experience, but I've heard from other eldest childs that is rough being an oldest child. And yeah, it's funny. And then Price says, I thought middle children were the problem. And then Zeller's like, the middle is a sweet spot because he's obviously a middle child. And then Will says, always trying to figure out where they fit in. They can be great politicians or lousy ones. And it's like, oh, he got back at Zeller for that dig. I love this birth order little fight, but they're also like intellectual about it because they're like diagnosing. Anyways, psychologists, again, crazy people. Then there's another therapy scene with Hannibal and Will, and they're talking about family, as gays do. And Hannibal's like, tell me about your mother. And then Will says, that's some lazy psychiatry, Dr. Lecter. Low-hanging fruit. Straight up calls him lazy, drags him. I love it for him. Yeah, then they're talking about family. And then they start hinting at stuff with Abigail. And I don't know how it wasn't obvious that it seems like, oh, they're both dads. They're both gay dads. Because they're like talking about, you and I have a great deal in common with Abigail. Because they both have an aptitude for the psychological. And by the way, I was so right when I said, oh, Abigail, you know, when she does the little thing where she keeps secrets or she says, probably says something about you. In the last episode, I mentioned that. And I was like, oh, she could be a psychologist. And then here we are. And I didn't remember this line, by the way. I know I'm claiming to be an expert on the show, but I don't remember every single line. Also, I'm not claiming to be an expert on the show. Pretend I didn't say that. Because there are people who have watched it more times than me, and I'm just trying my best in a little funny podcast manner. So then he's talking to Will, and he's like, seems like you're trying to build your own family because you didn't have a family. And it's like, ooh, this is similar to the story with the murder plot with the mother figure and the children who kill their own families. However, Will thinks Hannibal's talking about his dogs, and he's like, yeah, building a family of strays, which is also relevant to that plot. And Hannibal's like, no, it's with Abigail. And it's so clear that both of them are trying to be dads. They're both trying to be gay dads. Yeah, so then this is where they mention, oh, Hannibal was feeding Will's dogs, and that's the scene. And it's like, oh, okay, that's why he was creepy in the house. And then there's an eating scene. I love calling it that. An eating scene where Jack is overeating at Hannibal's house, and it's like, oh, he's eating human meat, haha, because he makes the stupidest joke. Jack's like, what meat is this? And Hannibal's like, rabbit. And so Jack says he should have hopped faster as a joke. And then Hannibal's like, yes, he should have. Shut up. Don't even say that. And then they cut to somebody like running away, like a person. And it's like, yeah, we get it. You don't even need to. But anyways, then I think they cut to like the murder plot, and the mother is like, you can only have one family, and it should be your chosen family. And I was wondering, like, whose perspective does this reflect? I know Will said, like, oh, I didn't have family. But Hannibal also said that. And Will is the one who killed Garrett Jacob Hobbs, but Hannibal, like, played a part in that, obviously, and is playing a part in trying to adopt Abigail. So I feel like it's the combination of Will and Hannibal, who are this mother figure. But there's suggestions that it's more likely to be Hannibal. Because, yeah, we'll get to that later again. So then later, Will has a gay dad moment, another one. And he comes in and he's like, I wasn't thinking straight. Because he bought Abigail fishing hooks to go fishing. And some other fishing things I don't really know. And yeah, you weren't thinking straight. You were thinking gay dad. And he's like, he wanted to teach her how to fish. And then Hannibal's like, feeling paternal, Will. Wink, wink, gay dads. And then Will's like, aren't you feeling paternal? And then Hannibal's like, yes. Straight up, yeah. Bitch, we gay dads. And then he's like, Dr. Bloom advised me against taking too personal an interest. And I hate it because he's like, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Then Will says something very interesting. He's like, I can't give them back what they just gave away about the kids who killed their own families. And that's how he feels about the case. But he also, it shows that he's guilty about killing Jacob Hobbs because he can't give Abigail back her father. And Hannibal caught on to it because he says, perhaps it's our responsibility to help her find her way. And he's really pushing this narrative. I don't want to say it, but the gay dad narrative. And it's interesting how he does it because he caught on to Will's guilt. And then basically Hannibal goes to Abigail in the hospital and straight up says, let's hang out. And Abigail's like, yeah, I hate this hospital. Let's go. But again, like, this sketchy dude is like, hey, hang out with me. And he's old. Sorry, maybe that's ageist, but he's quite a bit older than Abigail. And he's already hiding secrets and bodies for you. It's just a lot. But I don't know. Abigail clearly is like happy to hang out with him, I guess. And then he's like doing this whole therapy thing. And he full on gives her like magic mushrooms in a tea. And it's so sketchy. But then he's like making breakfast and he's being all nice. And then the next scene right after that is Will and Jack and whoever talking about captor bonding, which is when you get along with somebody who is keeping you hostage as a survival instinct. And they're like, what did they say? You bond with your captor, you survive. You don't, you're breakfast. And then it literally cuts to Hannibal eating breakfast with Abigail. And it's like, oh, this seems like a wholesome moment. Because he's like making food and like giving her drugs, which is sketchy. But like, he's like, let me be your guide. These drugs will help you get over your trauma. And however, it's also implied that it's captor bonding. So it's a really conflicting situation going on. Oh, the reason they were talking about captor bonding is because of the murder plot. So then they talk about family contagion effect, which influences them to adopt similar mannerisms. So they're talking about how the kids murder is similar to how the mother murders in the murder plot. And it's also interesting because it's like the murder family, Abigail, Will, Hannibal, makes you think. Because they've all, killed someone so far. Wow, 4 episodes in and all 3 have killed somebody. Makes you think. Then Will says she wants these children to burst for love for her, but has to erase the family to do that. And maybe that's similar to what Hannibal did. Maybe that's also similar to what Will did. I feel like Will, I don't know, he feels guilty, obviously, but then he's also like, kind of like, yeah, I want to adopt Abigail and shit. So, oh well, killed Garrett Jacob Hobbs, and he was a bitch anyways. But like, that's like his internal kind of feeling, because Hannibal's like, you like killing, and it takes a while for him to admit it. Then, oh my god, Alana comes in to Hannibal's office and she calls him rude, straight up. She is so pissed. She's like, rude, Hannibal, incredibly rude. And then it's just so funny because it's his classic word and she just hits him with that gay on gay aggression right off the bat. And he just sits there and nods. Like he knows. He's like, yeah, I did this. Sorry. It's so funny the way he does it. But then he starts straight up lying, does not tell her that Abigail got mushrooms, understandably so, because it's sketchy, and is like, oh, she only took a Valium. She might be like, whoa, crazy though. And then he does it in such a weird way. He's like, Alana, you were right. She was nervous to leave the hospital. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But also I gave her, like, to make it okay that he gave her drugs. So very interesting the way that Hannibal does that. Then Hannibal's like, oh, Abigail was waiting for you, wanted to see you. So go on into the room, and it's the dining room, and they're all having breakfast together. That's the plot twist. And Abigail sits there, and it shows her on drugs. She sees her mother and father sitting across from her, Hannibal and Alana. And I'm like, whoa. You cannot have this whole episode like building up this gay dad's arc where Will is also the father, and then it's suddenly Alana is the mother. They were like, let's be straight. Let's be straight right now. We can't do that where Abigail sees her mother and father in Will and Hannibal. That is too gay. So, you know what? Okay, we'll throw in Alana here. But, yeah, heteronormativity. But maybe Gary suggested that Hannibal needed to, like, be like, hey, it's just like your mother and father. Just kidding. I'm gay, bitch. Gay dads. And, yeah. But it was just interesting how they suddenly made it straight after, like, doing some interesting hinting this whole time. But at the same time, I feel like what they were going for in season 1 was not even full-on gay, because I heard this from somewhere that they didn't realize it was sort of like that, as in gay, until like season 2. And then they really started to crank it up and do intentional gay stuff. But like, was that really unintentional, the fact that they were hinting at it? I guess they were just hinting at, oh, they both are feeling paternal separately. Okay, all right. Why are they so gay then? Riddle me that. But anyways, yeah, maybe that's a possible explanation why they did the straight thing. And that was the end of the episode, basically, that scene. Yeah, cool ending scene, even though a little sus. But yeah, it was a juicy episode. So Hannibal was the mother figure who is captor bonding with Abigail. But also it's like, seems like a nice, wholesome vibe. But it has this creepy undertone because he's like a cannibal. He's a killer. He killed her friend and he has secret plans. So it's interesting to interpret it in both ways, the nice way and the scary way. But I like Hannibal as a character. Like, he makes me mad, but he's also pleasant. So I can't help being like, aw, murder family, so nice. But at the same time, it's fucked up. I can't even deny it. But that's it. Sorry, I talked a lot because it is Gemini season and I probably rambled. Also indicative of Gemini season and Sagittarius full moon going on right now. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I recently rewatched the next episode, so maybe that one will be out soon, but probably not. I was going to make a double episode. Did not happen because this one was just too juicy. Too juicy. The next one is very juicy too, though, so look forward to that. Stay tuned for regular Media Munchies episodes because hopefully we'll do more of those soon. And yeah, thank you for listening. Whoa, not so fast. We got some new information here. Hi, this is me editing a couple weeks later, maybe more than a couple weeks. I have found some new information on this episode, particularly the ending that I was complaining about being too straight, right? So it's like Alana and Hannibal are Abigail's parents. She sees them as her parents in the dining room scene. However, so I looked at the script, right? And here it says, when Alana walks in, Abigail says, "Hi, Dr. Bloom," and Alana's like, you were expecting me, pointing to the third place setting at the table. And Hannibal says, in the interest of honesty, we were expecting Will Graham, but my phone calls went unreturned. Pardon me? He was supposed to say that. However, this was a deleted line or something, I'm assuming, because he did not say that in the show. I cannot believe he's, like, so they were saying, no, actually, we were gonna have gay dads going on, but I guess you're the second option here. I decided to call up my bestie, but I'm actually gay. Oh, God. And they cut this out. Why? Because it's too gay? I'm just wondering, like, they were like, is the implication that Abigail's parents are Hannibal and Will? We better be careful about these implications, as if they weren't implying it for the entire rest of the episode. I just don't know why that line was there, or why it was cut out, or why Will was, like, not returning the phone calls. Maybe he was having a breakdown. Who knows? Probably. But, wow. It's a lot to take in. So, it was supposed to be those two as her parents. So, yeah, that's pretty cool to know. And it really puts a different spin on the episode when we know that line was supposed to be there. And it really reinforces everything that I've been saying about gay dads this episode. So, yeah, that was it. That was the only other addition I needed to make. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on Media Munchies Podcast.